So the next step is to start editing. So one thing to keep in mind is that you need to be on the right zoom level. Don't try to edit the drums like this because you're not going to be very precise. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. So make sure to be on the right zoom level. So I think like this is good, right? Also make sure that the transients are not all tiny like that. Make sure that the waveforms are increased. You can click here to adjust the waveform height. So I'm just going to Command Z to start from scratch. So now we can start editing. There are many techniques to edit drums. I'm going to show one that works for me, and I'm sure it's going to work for you too. So on slip mode, you're going to identify which drum piece the drummer intended to hit. So in this case, it is the kick, right? If you zoom out, you can see that the kick is the strongest transient. And then you just go a little bit before it. You hit Command E to separate, and then you move it to the grid line. And then you just keep going. And then, for example, this is a hi-hat hit, and it's a little late. So I'm just going to separate it and move it to the grid line. I'm going to do that for my snare. Here, the drummer intended to hit the hi-hat and the kick at the same time, but the hi-hat happened a little bit before. So I cannot do this. This is going to generate some artifacts. So I need to cut a little bit before the hi-hat in this case. There you go. So here's a kick. I'm going to put it in the right place. This is a hi-hat. And you always move it to the closest grid line, right? Don't move it to the one that is far away. Move it to the closest one. This one is a little late. I'm holding Shift and using the mouse wheel to scroll horizontally. All right, so this is good. You get the idea, right? So let's listen to it. So you probably heard some artifacts already. I'm just going to mute the click just so we can hear them better. So you probably heard a around here. And that, of course, is caused by all these gaps that I created, right? So it goes from digital silence to a transient, and then digital silence to transient. And that's going to generate clicks and pops. So what I need to do is fill in the gaps and generate crossfades. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that every single clip has the whole audio file in it. So if I stretch this one out, it has everything. So let's say that I made some mistakes around here. I can always go back 2 or 3 clips and then recover that part and then re-edit it, right? So that's important to know. However, since every clip has the whole file in it, if I stretch it to the right to fill in that gap, then I'm going to have that transient again. And now I'm going to have what is called a double transient. And sometimes it's very audible, sometimes not that much. Let's see if this one is. Yeah, that one is pretty audible. So the way to avoid it is to fill in the gap always from the right to the left. There you go. So again, you just fill in the gap from the right to the left, and you overlap it just a little bit, and then you place a crossfade. When there is no gap, all you need to do is place a crossfade. Here, from right to left, place the crossfade. From right to left, place the crossfade. From right to left, place the crossfade. You get the idea. And there you go. So this part is now edited. Let's listen to it, see if there are any artifacts left. All right, and there you go. We edited the first 5 bars. And that's it. All you need to do is keep going until you reach the end. So this is just 30 seconds of drums. If you're working on a song that is 4 or 5 minutes long, this can be very laborious. And in this case, I would recommend using automatic drums editing that we're going to cover on the next videos. But even if you use automatic drums editing, there's always some manual editing that you're going to need to do. So it's really important to master this technique. And that's it. Thank you for watching. See you on the next video.